Hi, and welcome back to the Shane Plays DC Rebirth review series, where I've been going through all of the one-shots and number one issues of all of the Rebirth-related titles. So, there's still Rebirth comics coming out, stuff with the Rebirth branding on it. However, best I can tell by looking at checklists and whatnot, uh, we're done for now as far as I know, with the one shots. And all the one shots basically reestablished whatever the new status quo was going to be for the series moving forward, whether it's existing series or new series, and then the number ones of the series just kind of continued on with the story. So what I'm going to do is I've got two issues here that fit the bill on a number one issue or a one shot. The one shots are done. I've got two number ones from one shots that we covered last video. So I'm going to go through those real quick, and then I'm going to basically kind of recap as a whole uh, what I think about Rebirth and the comics that I'm going to stick with and that I'm not. So that's what this video will be. So jumping right into it, first of all was Teen Titans. Um, and the one shot basically introduced everybody, and then it had some mysterious figure kidnap them all and was revealing himself at the end. And I was like, oh, it's gonna be Robin, and it was Robin, of course, which I thought was kind of cheesy. But anyway, it was kind of a clever way of reintroducing all the characters. So this Robin, Damian Wayne, Batman's son, was raised by Ra's al Ghul and Talia Ghul, his mother, and he's an arrogant. He's really effective and amazing, but he's also quite arrogant. But he's also trying to be a hero. Uh, and what this issue does is he basically, reveals himself, explains why he kidnapped everybody to show them that their what their weaknesses are and how they can help him or how he can help them. And then also they kind of break loose and all this stuff, and it's almost like he was like, I knew you would break loose and I wanted to show you how effective you are working together. And then it goes on to do a few flashbacks into Damian's recent past, and it implies that the League of Assassins is coming after him. His grandfather is kind of like, Ra's al Ghul is like join me or die kind of thing, and somehow I think this has to do with him bringing the Teen Titans together. It was interesting. Um, it's not that it's not fair really to do comic books like this. I mean, the Teen Titans I knew was back in the 80s, right? But this is the Teen Titans I know, and I mean, this looks okay. It's not bad. It's just not grabbing me, so I'm probably not going to keep going with it now that I've read the one shot and the number one. But it's not bad. I think there's people that will enjoy it. It's just not my cup of tea personally. And it is kind of interesting at the end. And again, spoilers. These videos on these DC Rebirth series always have spoilers. It introduces this. You can see that it's sort of Ra's al Ghul's version of the Teen Titans that he's sending out. They call the Demon's Fist. That he's basically sending after Damian, which means whether they know it or not, he's sending after the Teen Titans. So, like I said, it was okay. I didn't overwhelmingly dislike it. I didn't overwhelmingly like it. It's what I thought it was going to be. That Robin was using his Batman brain machinations to pull everybody together. Now, what I didn't see coming was the tie-in with that Ra's al Ghul is coming after him, and because I guess he turned 13, which in a lot of cultures in society is kind of considered young adult age of accountability. So I guess his grandfather's like, okay, you're 13 now. You either have to come back with me or die, basically. And Damian, instead of running to Batman and going, my grandfather's trying to kill me, he's putting his own superhero team together. And he straight up says, I want to make a superhero team, and I think we should all be a good superhero team. So that was Teen Titans Rebirth. Now, Batman Beyond, number one, they're not the one shot. The one shot was last video. Uh, again, pretty good. It's basically the Jokers. The Jokers with a Z is a gang in the future in Gotham, in Neo Gotham or whatever, and they've taken over a whole neighborhood. There's like hundreds of them, if not thousands of them, and Batman Beyond basically gets his butt kicked. Um, because he goes into this Joker's town, and I'm out of shape. He hasn't been Batman for a while. He's out of shape. He's out of practice, and the odds are overwhelming. And he just straight gets, you know, gangbanged basically. I mean, they just pile on him and beat him down, and he does escape. He hits his jet boots and flies off and whatever. And his brother, and I don't know if it's his girlfriend or a friend of his, are in the Bat Cave. They've kind of just revealed that to this woman. His brother did, and they're monitoring him. And his brother is like, he ran. I can't believe he ran, because it's like the younger brother that looks up to the big brother kind of thing. And I mean, I don't know if you can see that there, but his suit's all shredded, and he's in pretty bad shape. And he ends up at the end deciding to go uh, undercover. He's like, I can't beat him with a full frontal assault, so I'm going to go undercover as a Joker, a member of the game and gang. And these guys are trying to bring, I don't know if you can see that, they're trying to bring the original Joker back, who's sort of in some sort of cryostasis or something. So it's pretty good. This one I may keep going with. I'm not sure. The next time I see it on the stand and I'm looking at my budget and everything, I may pick it up. But I'm not all in on either of these. They're not bad. Almost all of the Rebirth stuff has been good. And worth reading, and I'm glad that I read all the one-shots and all the number ones to get a gist of what's going on in the DC universe now with Rebirth, which again is not a reboot. They're changing the status quo. They're staying in the New 52 continuity, but they're changing up the status quo on a lot of stuff, getting back to what they consider as the core relationships and good storytelling of comic books and what people know of these characters, and it's working. I keep talking to my comic book shop owners, and every week I go, how's it going? And they're like, man, for the first time like ever, and this comic book store has been open since like the early to mid 80s, when comic book stores really kind of started popping up. And they're like, for the first time ever that we know of, consistently week after week, month after month, or month after month or whatever, DC's beating Marvel. And Marvel right now is on this, social conditioning kick where they're not respecting their characters, and I guess they're doing good storytelling them or whatever, but it's not for me. I want them to respect their characters, and they're not. So I'm one of those people that is helping DC beat Marvel right now. So Rebirth as a whole, we're done. That's it. No more. We've gone through all the one-shots and number ones. Rebirth as a whole, I think, is a success. I was very cynical going in. I was like, another reboot, another this, another that, whatever. But it's been really good. You have this many comic book series and this many different creative teams. There's going to be some highs and lows, but as a whole, it's good. It's above average. I like a lot of what they're doing with the characters. There's some characters that I've never looked forward to their monthly book ever that I know of. And then I'm like, it's the new Aquaman, the new Wonder Woman. I'm like, wait, I want to see what happens next. And I think, at once briefly in the 90s when Peter David was doing Aquaman, I briefly got into the monthly Aquaman. Now, I've always liked Aquaman as a character, but I could have always cared less about his monthly series. But the stuff they're doing with Aquaman now is good. Same thing with Wonder Woman. I'm loving Greg Rucka and the two different artists. They alternate artists and storylines every other issue. And a lot of these comics are coming out twice a month now. So, that... I thought I wouldn't like that, but it's fine. It hasn't really bothered me. Now now that I'm just not buying everything that's number one or a one shot, I'm going to have to get more discreet with my budget, or clever with my budget, or whatever, considerate of my budget. But I've actually I'm like, the next issue's out, so that's kind of cool. I guess there's nothing written in stone that says the comic books have to be monthly. I guess it could be weekly, bi-weekly, or whatever, once every 3 weeks, whatever. There's nothing set in stone that says they have to be monthly. And I know they've had weekly comic books, and those are hard to keep up with that schedule. So I'm going to go through. I've got a checklist here that I'm going to go through real quick and kind of give an idea of what I stayed with and what I didn't. Now, Aquaman, I stayed with. I'm liking Aquaman, what they're doing there. Batman, the Batman series, not Detective Comics, but Batman the series, I was just about to give up on, because I didn't like the whole Gotham Girl and Gotham storyline. You know, I thought the first issue of the new Batman was great with the airliner crashing and all that. And then since then, I was like, I just didn't care. Um, and I was just about to drop Batman, but they switched creative teams, I think, starting issue 9, something like that, 8, something, with where it's like he's going to go on a Suicide Squad run, like he's got his own Suicide Squad, and it's got a different creative team, so I'm going to check it out. But I was that close to dropping Batman. Um, Cyborg, after the one shot in the number 1, I didn't keep going with. Green Arrow, after a couple of issues, I didn't keep going with. Green Lanterns, and also Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps. I've been going with both of those and enjoying both of those very much. Harley Quinn, no, I didn't keep going with it. As I said in the video before, the Harley Quinn, you know, her own series, it's so different from everything else that Harley Quinn appears in the DC universe. It feels like its own universe. It's just silly and comic, and I'm just not into it. Um, Justice League, I'm staying with, mainly because it's Justice League. I haven't been totally overwhelmingly blown away. I wish Brian Hitch wasn't writing it, to be quite honest, but the art's good and some of the concepts and the stories are good, and they seem to be kind of, I think, every now and then going into what's going on with the overall Rebirth mystery, where it's possibly the Watchmen behind the scenes. Nightwing, nope, dropped that after the one shot in the number 1. I did pick up the Night of the Monster Men or whatever crossover that was going on all Batman stuff. Supergirl, I didn't keep going with. Superman and Action Comics, yeah, I like them both. I like what they're doing with Superman, and you know how he's having to reintegrate into the Justice League because he's not this timeline, this continuity Superman. He came from the pre-Flashpoint continuity, and now he's here, and then New 52 Superman's dead, and he's raising a son who has superpowers, half Kryptonian, in the Justice League. You know, they don't know if he can trust him. And then Lex Luthor is trying to be Superman in Metropolis, and I like it. I'm enjoying it. And it's really rare for Superman to be good on an ongoing basis. I like the character of Superman, but the comic book can sometimes get really boring. So Superman and Action Comics I'm in on. And I forgot to mention earlier, Batman. I've totally dropped Detective Comics. This team of like Red Robin, who everyone thinks is dead but isn't, got teleported right at the moment of his death by one of these mysteriously possible Watchmen figures that are behind the Rebirth stuff. You know, Clayface, Batwoman, Orphan, who used to be Batgirl, Spoiler, all this. I don't have a problem with the team. I have a problem with the tone of the series. It's too big. It's too loud. And Batman, Bruce Wayne is not acting like Bruce Wayne. You know, he's having too many sentimental moments. And they had this basically anime sequence where there was this serious threat against Gotham, and the team members ran to these different Wayne towers, and the top of the towers lit up with their symbol, and these rays were blasting out. It was like anime. This is not Batman is not that loud. Batman is not that big movie blockbuster. He's Batman. He operates low key. So I don't like it. Some of the plotting was good, but I didn't like the writing, and there's just been too many moments in there that are not Batman. And that's just how I feel about it. So I dropped Detective Comics, which surprises me. I thought I'd be going with Batman and Detective Comics. All-Star Batman, I didn't like the first issue, but every issue since then has been great. Batgirl and the Birds of Prey, I'm not keeping up with. Deathstroke, I'm not keeping up with. Detective Comics, already said I'm dropping. Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps is good. New Superman, I did not keep up with. Red Hood and the Outlaws, I did not keep up with. Suicide Squad, I'm still going with. Depending on my budget, I may drop them. Superwoman, I didn't go with after the first issue. The Flash, I didn't keep going with. Wonder Woman, I'm still hanging in there, enjoying. I've already said I like Aquaman. Let's see, Trinity's pretty good so far. And I'm trying to think what a Hellblazer I didn't keep going with. Some of this Titans I kept going with. I wanna see what it could. Main reason I'm keeping going with the Titans is because that seems to be the main book that is investigating the actual Rebirth mystery, since the Wally West flashes in that, and he seems to be pretty key on that. So trying to think of what else. If there's anything else that I'm definitely keeping up with. I don't see anything on this checklist that's just jumping out at me. But overall, I think Rebirth is a an A or a B plus. I think they've done a really good job. Uh, DC's definitely doing better than they have been the past several years. New 52 was not overwhelmingly interesting to me. The DCU stuff they did, not overwhelmingly interesting to me. Now, Batgirl, I mentioned Batgirl and the Birds of Prey. I didn't keep up with that, but the actual Batgirl um, comic book I like, and I'm keeping up with that. I like the style of it quite a bit. Blue Beetle, I like. Because I like Blue Beetle, I like the Jaime character, and I love Ted Kord. So I just love seeing Ted Kord back as a more cut up character, like he should be, not so serious and not dead with a hole through his head like in previous continuities. Good grief. Um, so anyway, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm impressed. DC, good job. Please keep it up. I hope this isn't sort of temporary fluke, and that you guys will only keep bringing us comics and stories that we enjoy while you respect your characters. So that's been Rebirth. If you watch the whole series, I appreciate it. If you just watch this one, I appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I have all kinds of different content: comic books, games, you name it, video games, um, role-playing game stuff. And please leave a thumbs up and a comment on this video if you would. If you would, that helps me out a lot. Have a great one, and thanks for watching.